our guest today, Charles Franklin, the director of the Marquette University Law School Poll, to help us set the stage for Scott Walker tonight and what he's facing. So, Charles, first, this is a very large number of candidates. They've split it into sort of the junior varsity and the varsity debates. What do you make of how they've set this up and sort of the challenges the organizers have in finding the right mix of people on stage and the right approach to an informative debate?
Yeah, I think you can have a lot of sympathy for anybody trying to organize a debate with 17 candidates. It seems quite unworkable on the face of it. I think there's reasonable dispute about using the polling to separate out the top 10 from the bottom 7, though the polling has been quite clear about who is towards the bottom and who's towards the top. Other people have proposed alternative schemes to debates with half in each debate. But really, that train has left the station. As it stands, getting through 10 candidates in 2 hours will still be a challenge. If you just do the math, that leaves well under 10 minutes per candidate when you allow for questions and follow-ups and so on. So it's going to be a very tight schedule. It really is going to put a lot of strain on the candidates to make their points pretty concisely.
All right, and the person, they're organizing the stage tonight with the person at the top of the polls, Donald Trump, in the middle, and he'll be flanked by Scott Walker and former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. Now, what do you make of Donald Trump, who, if we were sitting here 3 months ago, we probably wouldn't be saying he's necessarily in the debate, let alone the top leader in the polls right now?
That's certainly true. Prior to his announcement that he would officially get in the race, he was typically polling at just 2 or 3 percentage points in the polls that asked about him, and many polls left him out altogether. Since he got into the race, and especially since he has started to dominate media coverage over the last few weeks, we've seen him go up to the low to mid or even upper 20s in national polling and lead some of the statewide polls as well. In that sense, his polling numbers have certainly earned him that place in center stage, and that despite a great deal of skepticism about whether he's actually a serious contender for the nomination. I think in one sense tonight will really help show whether he belongs on the stage with these other candidates. If it fails to differentiate him from the others, then I think that's further proof that he's earned his position here. If, on the other hand, he doesn't look like he's ready to talk about the issues seriously with the other candidates, or if the other candidates have criticisms of him, then that'll also be revealing. So I think no matter which way the debate goes, we're in a position to learn more about Donald Trump, but also about all the other candidates from tonight seeing them on the same stage.
Right. And Scott Walker, of course, is our main interest, at least for Wisconsin voters, and to see how he does out there. He's generally coming in third or maybe sometimes second in the national polls. What significance do you attach to that? Is that a good spot for him right now, or certainly it's better than being at the bottom, but how do you think he's positioned himself, and does he have room to grow?
I think he's positioned himself very well. Most of the national polling, almost all of it, has seen him in the top 3 or 4 candidates nationwide. He's continued to lead in Iowa in virtually every poll there for the last several months, maybe with one exception. And so he's in a very good position in the top tier, but not necessarily first place. First place means everybody else is looking to take you down some. So I think he's in a good position there. Governor Walker has a history of well-controlled debate appearances in which he stays on message, presents the arguments the way he wants to present them. That'll be a challenge to any questioner who would like to move him off that practice. And it'll be a very interesting moment to see if there is any back and forth between the candidates. How does Governor Walker respond to that in this context?
All right, and looking forward, so after the debate's over, do you typically ever see any sort of bounce or movement in the polls from this, or is that only a case if someone really messes up that you would see a big shift in the polls?
Debate bounces are more rare than I think popular notions would have it. Many debates serve to reinforce what people already think about the candidates, either positively or negatively, and therefore have usually pretty little effect. When one candidate does spectacularly well, or perhaps more often spectacularly poorly, then we see a bounce up, or more commonly down, as that does affect campaigns. The one important point here, though, is this is so early still in the process. And these candidates, even though they're in the top 10, remain remarkably little known in the country as a whole. So there is more room here for a candidate to either profit and move up or suffer and move down from tonight's debate.
All right. Well, we thank you for your thoughts on the debate tonight, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.